Where reason shakes hands with reality. America's first competition talk show.
The Hub is engaging.
Talk life.
Good day and welcome to the Hub Internet Show.
Now, speaking of a company that's had to save its bacon a lot in the last couple of years is Bank of America and a lot of the other banks. And quite frankly, some of it's because of their bad behavior in the marketplace. All of us are very aware of that. Some of this is because of some unbelievable demonization that's been forced upon them by a lot of different groups. For example, SEIU, the Service Employees International Union, and a Chicago outfit called National Political Action, they have ramped this up. Since the 1960s, groups like SEIU, the Saul Alinsky crowd, have been staging protests to try and put political pressure and put fear in the minds of their enemies so that they could get political payoffs in a lot of ways. And this has been the way the game's been played for a long time. But just a few weeks ago, Greg Baer, who's the Deputy General Counsel for Corporate Law at Bank of America, he's a senior business executive with the company.
A Democrat.
Yeah, and a Democrat for that matter. Based out of Washington, D.C., was driving home from picking his son up from ball practice and happened upon his own front yard filled with 500 SEIU protesters that had just dropped out of 14 different buses in the front yard to scream and yell on his front doorstep. Now, first of all, I believe this is violation, private property violation. They didn't stay on the curb, which I don't know what the rules are in the District of Columbia, but this brings that question up. But furthermore, he has a young son literally hiding in the closet in the house, the only person alone, because you've got 500 screaming, angry, animalistic people standing in your front yard right now, causing a rage. This is going too far. Protest at a bank if you want to. Protest at a public hearing or a public meeting. Do not bring it home. Joe?
Well, yeah, let's start from the point that people who have a disagreement have every right to have a peaceful protest. This is America. I'm all about that. This is intimidation, and it's some form of terrorism. It's harassment. Try to imagine what the media would be like today if this were a Tea Party group that had showed up on the front step of some other industry that they disagreed with and brought it and were frightening that person's child. It would be front page of everything, lead story of everything. The fact that this is hidden, the mainstream media is complicit in this as a result of it. It's intimidation, and it is what we are moving more towards. You've seen what's happened to Sarah Palin in the last couple of weeks, taking it to the Joe McGinnis, moving in next door, trying to research his book by getting in their personal space. It's disgusting, and it's discouraging about being told that we're the hate mongers, apparently, and they're the tolerant ones, and yet watch these kinds of tactics happen.
And here's the thing. Stephen Lerner, who is with SEIU, he's a spokesperson for them, was asked about this specific situation just last week. One of the quotes he gave was that he's the point person for them, and he said he accused the person asking him the question, saying this is a problem, of getting too emotional. I'm guessing he's getting a little bit too hyperbolic, if I can spit it out. But the thing he's saying, and his quote was, millions of people are losing their homes, and they have gone to the banks, which are turning a deaf ear. Well, why are people going to the banks? Because you sent them there. Quite frankly, it was your demonization that got it. And why are the banks turning a deaf ear? Because meeting mob demands at this point in the game would further heighten the problems going on. Because when the mob is demanding a bailout on their mortgage and things like that, you're going to perpetuate the same problem that got you here to begin with. The banks know somebody's got to be responsible in this equation. Somebody's got to turn on a light and say, I'm the adult in the room, and they're not doing it. The mobs certainly aren't asking for it.
There's so many fingers of blame to point at for the financial crisis. You can't single out just the banks. They were not the only ones complicit in this. a lot of the toxic mortgages that were done were on properties in states like California, and a lot of times the builders had their own mortgage companies, and they were putting people in the houses, and the banks really had no idea what kind of paper that they were getting. Wall Street securitized it and allowed it to be sold, and it usually got leveraged up to 32 times. So one loan went bad, and 32 institutions got affected. And don't think for 1 second that many of the financial institutions did not feel the pain. Bank of America's stock is down to $16 a share from about 55. It was down at $5 right during TARP. Citibank is down from $48 to $4 a share. Lehman Brothers is bankrupt. Bear Stearns is bankrupt. Merrill Lynch is bankrupt. Wall Street has felt the pain, absolutely. I can assure you.
Yeah. And the fact is, to demonize it more at this point is they are doing everything they can to rein in the problem at this point. And these guys, it's a simple power grab without a long-term view of what the implications were. Yeah,
exactly. BFA was out of those mortgages in 2001.
Well, it'll rage on, but it needs to rage on out front of the office, not out front of Greg Bear's home. We'll see you tomorrow on The Hub.